What have you been talking about? Let's bring in Bukola now to bring us up to speed as to what the people have been saying on X. Bukola.
Quite a lot, Jeffrey. Of course, top on the list of trends today is that a bag of rice, 50 kg bag of rice, is now about 95,000 naira. That's a 152% increase from what it was in October last year. I remember buying a bag of rice last year, about this time last year.
I know you should know.
Of course I would.
You don't need economists allowed.
For 37,000 naira. So a bag of rice is now 95,000 naira, and that's an update from the NBS, not even from Nigeria.
That's almost 200% increase.
Yeah, so that's top on the agenda. Of course, President Bola Tinubu wants filling stations to be converted to CNG, but there's a whole lot that is involved in that mix.
Is it total conversion or to have the CNG as part of the filling stations?
Well, maybe an incorporation.
Yes,
yeah, but that's part of the headline. So let's start with a bag of rice, which is, top on the agenda this morning. And who is writing in first? We have Scholar. Scholar says it's more expensive than this. Have you heard groundnut oil price? Of course, that's also hovering between 13,500 and 5,000. No, 15,000 naira for a 5-liter keg of groundnut oil. Of course, I should know that one as well. Okay. So, Scholar says Nigerians need a hug first.
Yes, somebody said, somebody made a joke and said, if you go for a job interview and you're asked, what's your experience? Just say I'm Nigerian. That should serve for a reason, because we have gone through hell and warm waters. Annie says, bag of local rice now 95k, minimum wage now 70k. Sure, say we no go stop to chop rice like this. Okay, how do I? Because you're better with this interpretation. Sometimes, more like rice is so expensive.
We should stop consuming rice. Yes. That's what Annie is trying to say.
We can't stop it. We can't stop it.
Well, Otumba is the next user. Otumba says all these are caused by shortage in supply. Open up the land borders and watch the price drop exponentially.
Okay, that's
another part of the conversation.
Yes. Nupe Prince says FG keeps mopping up the rice market as major buyers of the commodity, thereby making it scarce, and as a result, prices surge. I really feel when we talk about these things, and it's really heartbreaking. But whatever the government can do to relieve the pain, because on the social element, in trying to have the social net for the vulnerable persons, it's ineffective in Nigeria. As much as those measures are necessary, we can question how it was done, whether it was done properly. I'm talking about the subsidy removal, both subsidies, because it's subsidy. Whether you remove subsidy for PMS or you stop subsidizing FX by defending it, it's all subsidy. But now the most vulnerable are being hit. If the very wealthy are crying, not to talk about the most vulnerable. So government has to do something really quick. I think we've said a lot and enough
about this. Now let's go on to the next talking point very quickly. President Bola Tinubu wants filling stations converted to CNG outlets. That's ascribed to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Gas, Ekwerikwe Eko. And Adeboye Elumaro is the first writer this morning, and he says, it's a good initiative, but considering the current challenging economic conditions, how many people can realistically afford to convert their vehicles to CNG? Now, discussing the matter of stations, if the federal government would assist in sponsoring the required finances for filling stations to undergo conversion, then proceeding would be feasible. It's essential, however, that we implement more safety precautions. Of course, there's an intervention in that space, a partnership between the Federal Ministry of Finance and some financial institutions, providing loans such that Nigerians who want to convert can have that initial shock absorber, because the conversion cost is expensive. So,
quite expensive.
And pay over a period of time.
Okay, Live Issues 11 says, but are they really considering the risks involved in converting petrol vehicles to CNG? CNG is for countries with low temperature, and converting vehicles to CNG in a country with high temperature like Nigeria puts the affected vehicles at risk of explosion. Well, that's an argument, but the experts will answer, because the LPG cylinder is about, I think, 4 mm. This is about 12 mm. This is almost bulletproof and all of that. For me, before the federal government or the government starts saying we've done enough for everybody to choose petrol or CNG, make sure the penetration is as well over 80 to 19%. then we can know that we have started having the energy mix. It's not a question of choice.
But
for now, it's
Nigerians
too early.
are expressing a lot of concern about safety. That speaks to awareness level, not just about penetration now, but also about safety. And that's where we call again on the National Orientation Agency. These are spaces for intervention. I mean, just yesterday, there were reports that Nigerians were scooping petrol yet again from a fallen tanker somewhere in the south-south.
All right, Bukola, do we have more time?
Yeah, just to take 2 more reactions from another topic. This time, federal government set to raise VAT on luxury goods to 15%. So the first writer is Iken, who says, what more could be more luxury than a bottle of water sold for 200 naira in the streets? It's sold at 1,000 naira in pubs, and 4,000 naira at one of the luxury hotels.
Yeah.
You have the next one.
Yeah, so Adeboye says, increased VAT on luxury, the consumers' masses are going to start buying clothes, bags, and many more at expensive rates. We need to consider the consumers with our policy. So the minister had said, for luxury products, for those of us who like to buy luxury things, you have to pay more, because the idea is to tax the rich and subsidize the poor. If you discount for the poor, basically the very vulnerable will not have to pay. They'll pay just little tax or very minimal tax. So they know what they classify as luxury.
Absolutely. And, we could mention even one, the champagne that is consumed in the corridor. I don't want to say corridors of power now, but in very high places.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, for me, we want to tax whatever it is we want to tax. I am advocating for the very poor people, the rice they eat, the yam they eat, the plantain, the egg, and all of that. Let's get those people to have a life. Their crime, they didn't commit a crime being Nigerian. So it's beyond talk shop. We're tired of talk shop. We're tired of be patient, do something. For those of us who have a bit of means, it may not hit you so much, but it's hitting everybody literally right now. But for those vulnerable people, how do they survive? But hey, we have a big one for you today. Lots of conversation, from minimum wage to the issue of tankard, accidents on the road, to the issue of copyright. What is that issue again?
And of course, we have quite a lot on the lineup
to talk about today. Yes, commodities, the economy. Yes, we'll talk about that as well. But we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll start our very first conversation. Join us again.